So I've had a few people ask me, should you start a YouTube channel to support a nonprofit organization? Can YouTube help your organization bring in volunteers or donations or consistent revenue to support your cause? That's what I'm going to dive into in this video. I will talk through some things to keep in mind before you start a YouTube channel for your nonprofit, what to expect, and how to develop a strategy that will increase your odds of success if this is something you decide you want to give a try. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Amber Melanie Smith, and I'm a nonprofit founder and executive director, and also now YouTuber who makes these videos all about how to make a social impact by starting a nonprofit or social enterprise or other ways. I hope that you find this video interesting and useful, and if you do, don't be afraid to give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. I also have a website, foundertofulltime.com, where you can check out some other resources I have for folks who are starting a nonprofit. So I hope that helps you out. All right, so let's get into this, and I want to start by setting the stage a little bit. There are two main circumstances under which you would start a YouTube channel to help a nonprofit. The first is you are an individual who wants to start your own YouTube channel to possibly raise awareness about or raise funds for a nonprofit that you care about or connected to. The second scenario is that you are representing the nonprofit itself, and the YouTube channel will be directly connected to the nonprofit and managed by that nonprofit. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to be focusing mostly on that latter scenario, a YouTube channel directly connected to and or managed by a nonprofit organization itself. Now, I am an individual who has this YouTube channel, and this YouTube channel is a side project of mine, a personal project completely unrelated to and not connected to my nonprofit organization at all. But I have learned a lot from the past couple of years of launching and growing this channel that I think could translate to a nonprofit starting a channel of their own and helping raise awareness or raise funds through that channel. So I'm going to be speaking from my personal experience here and how I would go about doing this if this were something that I were setting out to do. Now, in just a moment here, I'm going to get into two main things that you need to think about in order to effectively launch a YouTube channel that could support your nonprofit organization. But before I get into that, I do want to briefly talk about a couple of things you're going to want to keep in mind before you start. The first thing you need to keep in mind before you decide if YouTube is a good strategy for your nonprofit is that you're going to need to be patient and prepare for the long game. It can take anywhere from days in some cases to years to have a channel grow or even be monetized as a YouTube channel. So it all depends on so many different factors, including the types of content and the specific niche that you're focusing on, and of course the quality of your content and how well you're following some other best practices. It's important to know that if your goal is to monetize a YouTube channel, your channel will have to meet certain criteria before it can be monetized. And if you're new to this term monetization and how it applies to YouTube, all I mean is that after a certain point, your channel is eligible to start bringing in revenue through YouTube's advertising on your videos. Right now, the criteria is that you have to have a channel with at least 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. That means hours of people watching your videos within the past 12 months. Another thing to keep in mind before you start is equipment. You certainly do not have to have the best, highest quality, most expensive camera or filming or editing equipment in order to produce pretty decent YouTube videos. A lot of people just use their smartphones and film their videos in a quiet, well-lit space. And finally, you're going to need to know that it is a time commitment. You need to prepare for possibly up to a couple of hours for each video that you produce and film and edit and all of that good stuff. So think about that when you're considering whether it's worth it to start a YouTube channel for your nonprofit. Okay, all of that out of the way, let's get into the first thing you really need to do in order to consider if YouTube's going to be a good strategy for you. And that first thing is to clarify your goals for your YouTube channel. Thinking from your nonprofit organization's perspective, what are the top reasons you would want to start a YouTube channel, and what are your top goals for that channel? So when someone starts a YouTube channel, they might have one or more of a handful of the following goals. One big reason you might be considering starting a YouTube channel for your nonprofit is to try to raise large-scale awareness of your nonprofit or the issue that you tackle. It's important to remember that YouTube is essentially a gigantic search engine that people all over the world are using. I know my channel in particular gets views from so many different countries, and so do many others. So if your goal is to only really reach people in your local community to inspire local support, YouTube might not be the most ideal platform for that. It's not really designed for that. It's designed to reach people all over. So if your goal is to raise a larger scale national or global awareness about something, it could be a good fit for that. Another reason you might want to start a YouTube channel for your nonprofit is the hope of having a monetized channel that will bring in revenue for your nonprofit organization. And as I said before, this revenue that I'm talking about is generally coming in through advertisements placed on your videos that are hosted on YouTube. But if your channel gets large enough, it could also include things like sponsorships for videos or other types of partnerships, or even greater access to a larger audience to sell merchandise. So in this case, if this were your top goal, you would be focusing on optimizing your channel to get monetized and get the most ad revenue possible out of that monetized channel and its content. I do want to offer a quick disclaimer, and that is that unless your channel grows to be very, 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 very large and successful, it is highly unlikely that you would be able to depend on YouTube to bring in a large portion or all of your annual budget that your nonprofit needs for the year. You're more likely to be able to look to YouTube to provide some supplementary revenue for your organization and pair that with other types of fundraising strategies. A third reason that a nonprofit might start a YouTube channel is simply to have a platform on which to host your organization's video content. If all you care about is having a place where you can upload your videos and then quickly grab a link and share that with your existing supporters, go for it. There's nothing stopping you. And if that's the case, you can probably honestly skip the rest of this video and just go for it. The rest of this video, I'm going to focus on the strategies that you would undertake and focus on if your goal is either reaching large scale awareness or monetizing your channel. So think about those goals, and it's important to consider, of those goals, which one is the most important to you and your nonprofit. It is certainly possible to have a channel that both raises large-scale awareness and is monetized and brings in some revenue, but you're gonna have a different approach and try different strategies depending on which one of those is your most important goal. So it's really kind of important to know in your mind which one is the most important. All right, so in this second section of the video here, I'm gonna talk about the strategies you might try depending on what goal you are prioritizing. The first thing you're going to need to do here is to be thoughtful and choose your channel's topics. So in order to have a channel that grows organically and encourages YouTube's algorithm to help people discover your channel, you're going to have to choose some themes or a niche for your channel that is generally consistent. It doesn't mean you only can talk about one thing all the time, but it does mean that you need to consider what types of topics your audience is interested in within a theme. For example, makeup and beauty themes, or construction themes, or craft and arts themes, animal related themes, gaming, business, finance, etc. Basically what YouTube is going to do is it's going to share a video that you have made with a wide audience, and then it's going to pay attention to who is watching that video. What are their characteristics? Are they all of a similar age group? Do they all watch other types of videos that are similar also? It's going to basically create like a user profile for the type of person who is likely to watch your content. And then it's going to share your videos with those same types of people across YouTube. It's a little bit creepy, but that is essentially how it works. Which is why if you suddenly post a video that is completely out of left field and has nothing to do with the themes and topics of all the other videos that you posted, when YouTube goes to share that video with the audience it has curated based on your other video content, people are not going to click on it and watch it as much, and YouTube is going to think that maybe people don't like your content anymore. So that's why consistency is important here. Now here's where things might change a little bit based on the goal you're prioritizing, reach or revenue. If your goal is revenue, you might really be thoughtful and choose topics or themes or content types that are going to be more likely to command higher ad revenue dollars. If your top goal is instead reach, then you might choose some topics or themes for your videos that have a little bit broader public appeal so that YouTube is likely to capture a wider audience with them. But in that case, you might not be able to depend as much on higher ad revenue for each video. A little bit more about ad revenue. So how ad revenue works on YouTube is it's based on what's called CPM, which is essentially the amount that advertisers pay YouTube for 1,000 impressions of their ad on your video. Ad revenue is not equal across channels and topics. It is based on those channels' themes and types of content that they are putting out. So topics related more to things like business or finance or technology might actually command higher ad revenue for the CPM than channels that have maybe a broader appeal like makeup or entertainment or animals, etc. And my understanding and my theory around that is it's because those channels with the higher ad revenue are covering topics that advertisers think they're going to make more money from if they make a sale. Or possibly the channel is so niche that it has very little competition. It's the only channel where advertisers who focus on building homes for aardvarks can go. So when you're thinking about how much ad revenue could you reasonably bring in, it depends on so many different factors, and you really won't have an idea about that until your channel is monetized. So that's one downside. But other factors outside of the topics your channel covers that influence what your ad CPM could be might include the size of your subscriber base. Obviously, the more subscribers you have, the more likely all those people are watching, and more people watching equals more chances to see the ads, which equals more money. And then also how engaged your viewers are, how long they're watching each of your videos. If they click on it and watch for 2 seconds and then leave, or if they are watching for several minutes, that is also going to impact your ad revenue. I know monetized creators who make a couple of dollars a month and some who make thousands and thousands of dollars per month. So it really widely varies. But it's important if you're going to start a channel directly connected to your nonprofit that you don't pick a seemingly random topic that has literally nothing to do with your mission. You do want your topic and its themes to make sense for what your cause and your mission is. And there are a lot of reasons for that. One being so that you don't confuse the public about what your nonprofit's brand is all about. But the other reason is that nonprofits do have some rules about how they're allowed to raise money. And there's a thing called unrelated business income, which means that if a nonprofit is raising too much money and bringing in too much revenue from business activities that don't seem to have anything to do with furthering the organization's mission, then it will actually be at risk of having to pay taxes or penalties to the IRS if you're in the United States for the business income brought in through those means. So just be thoughtful about the types of themes that you work within. And I truly believe that you can get creative here and find ways of furthering your nonprofit mission while also reaching some of these other goals. For example, a how-to tutorial-based YouTube channel about arts and crafts might not make any sense for an animal rescue organization because arts and crafts don't necessarily further the mission of rescuing animals, but an arts and crafts tutorial YouTube channel could be a really great fit for an arts nonprofit or an art museum. Or to give you another example, a YouTube channel that focuses on teaching computer programming might not make any sense for a nonprofit whose mission is related to health and fitness, but it could make a lot of sense for a nonprofit whose mission involves helping people find quality jobs or getting people interested in science and technology, because those things match up. They make sense together. So once you've narrowed down the possible themes for your nonprofit's YouTube channel, there are a couple of other strategies you can try out to increase your odds of success at having it grow. The next strategy is consistency and content planning. it's really important to have your channel grow to be consistent in how often you post videos. I personally post about once a week. I recommend that cadence. It feels manageable to me. You obviously have to make the best decision you can for your organization or channel. But what's going to happen is that your subscribers are going to come to count on new content being posted at a certain cadence. And so they're going to keep coming back to your video looking for, or I'm sorry, your channel looking for more videos when that next time period has passed. So to keep people coming back, it's really important to have that consistency. As for content planning, I highly recommend, if you can, planning out your video ideas weeks in advance. You could use what's called an editorial calendar, thinking through what types of videos, topics you want to cover and when throughout the year, possibly even lining them up with important things happening throughout the year, or potentially some holidays or awareness days, etc. The third strategy is a very important one, and it's all about keywords. Remember that YouTube is a giant search engine, so people are only going to discover your videos when either YouTube recommends them because it thinks that those people are going to like your videos, or people search for your content using the YouTube search bar. So they don't know necessarily that you're looking for your content yet, but they're going to be typing in what they're looking for, like how to create an oil painting, or how to build a doghouse, or computer programming basics. Just ask yourself, if you were looking for something, what words would you type into the search bar to find it on the internet? And use that same mentality to identify what keywords you're going to want to use for your videos. Once you identify the key words or phrases that you want your videos to focus on that align with obviously the themes of your channel, you're going to want to use those keywords in a lot of different places on YouTube. You're going to want to use them in the title of a video. You're going to want to use them in the description of the video, ideally in the first sentence or two. You're going to want to verbally say those keywords in the video in the first 30 seconds or so. You can also use those keywords as tags on your video, though I am hearing recently that tags are less important in terms of discoverability on YouTube than they once were. So how do you figure out what these best keywords to use are? You can use a tool out there like Google Keyword Planner. You can type in your ideas for keywords or key phrases and just see what the search volume is for those things. Your goal is to identify phrases that have a lot of people searching for them. That's going to increase your odds of being discovered and your video being discovered on YouTube when people go to search. The third thing you're going to want to do as you are considering starting a YouTube channel for your nonprofit, and of course if you start, you're going to want to keep doing this, and that is to stay educated on how YouTube analytics work and what they mean. So you want to look up and study on your analytics dashboard on your YouTube channel things like reach, which is how many people are being exposed to your video, engagement, how many people are actually watching your video and for how long, how many people are clicking on your video once they do see it in their list of video options on the home page. Audience demographics, so who is watching your video? Are they all in a particular age range or from a particular area of the world? This is really valuable information because then you can customize your content to better meet the needs of the demographics most likely to watch your content. And finally, things like traffic sources. This is how people are finding your videos and your channels. Maybe you have a lot of people sharing your videos on Twitter for some reason. That's really important to know because if you know that, you could beef up your promotions on Twitter, for example. So just really learning about and understanding these different insights and analytics will help you continue to grow your channel because it will help you understand what your audience wants and helps you accommodate them through the types of content that you offer. Okay, it's a lot, so I know that what I have shared is not every last detail of what you would need or want to know in order to successfully have a YouTube channel for your nonprofit, but I do hope that it gives you kind of a glimpse into what to expect and what you might need to plan for in order to have a chance at being successful. So, once you've got all of the above, everything I just talked about figured out, and you've considered if this is for you and worth the time commitment for your organization, the final step is just starting your YouTube channel and uploading your first video. I'd love to hear from you now. What do you think? I know it can feel a little daunting if this isn't your usual area of expertise. It's something I know that I certainly had to learn as I was going, and I find analytics and insights very fascinating, so that was fun for me. But I'd love to hear, are you thinking of starting a YouTube channel for your nonprofit? What are your goals? What are your hopes and dreams for a YouTube channel? Share in the comments below. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I do have a website, foundertofulltime.com, where I have some trainings and resources all about the process of starting a nonprofit or developing a fundraising plan for your nonprofit. So be sure to check those out. I also have a newsletter that you can subscribe to that goes out about once a month for nonprofit leaders and change makers. I'll share resources, ideas, funding opportunities, etc. And finally, I do have a Facebook group called Change the World or Bust, where you can come on and join. And we got a couple thousand folks from all around the world talking about what they're working on to make an impact. So I hope to see you there. Once again, my name is Amber Melanie Smith, and I hope that this was useful and helpful, and that you give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and that I will see you next time.